this section, we're going to continue practicing simplifying fractions. And I'm spending a little more time on it because it is absolutely critically essential material, essential skill for you to master. We're going to be doing it constantly all the time. So in the last section, we introduced the concept. We drew a lot of pictures to show you and to prove to you that it works. Now we're just going to work, we're going to work through a few more problems to just give you a little more practice with that. And so let's just kind of go through it rapid fire here. 5/15. How do we simplify? First of all, is this a simplified fraction? It's not, because I can look at it and see I can divide the top and the bottom by something to make this simpler. So in this case, I know I can divide the top by 5, and I can also divide the bottom by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 15 divided by 5 is 3. So 1/3 would be the final answer there. And if we were to draw both of these pictures, we would see that they're both equivalent. What about 6/10? 6/10. Are these guys equivalent? And so let's go ahead and rewrite this, or I should say, is this simplified? It's not simplified because I know I can divide by 2 right away and divide both of them by 2, and that's going to make it simpler. So let's go ahead and do 6 divided by 10. Or 6/10, and we'll divide the top by 2, and we'll divide the bottom by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So I have 3/5. And that's the final answer on that one. Let's switch colors here a little bit just to break it up. What if I have 2/24? And I want to look and see, is this simplified? It's not simplified because I know I can divide top and bottom by 2 for sure. So I can say 2/24, and I can divide the top by 2 and the bottom by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 24 divided by 2, if you think about it, is actually 12, because 12 times 2 is 24. So the answer I get is 1/12. Let me go on to the clean board over here, and we'll just work a couple of additional, just to make sure you understand. What if I have 16/24? Is this simplified or not? And the answer is it's not simplified because I can tell right away. I can divide the top and bottom by at least the number 2 and make it simpler. So let's try to do that. 16/24. Let's divide the top and the bottom by 2 like this. And what am I going to get? 16 divided by 2 is going to give me 8. 24 divided by 2 is going to give me 12. So I think I'm done, but then I always have to go and check. Is this fully simplified still? I look at 8/12 and I can tell right away I can divide again by 2. So I'm scratching my head a little bit, but then I realize, okay, well, let me just go ahead and do that again. So let me start over here, or underneath a little bit, and say, all right, we'll do 8/12. And let's divide the top again by 2 and the bottom again by 2, and let's see what I end up with. Because I know I can simplify it again by doing this. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 12 divided by 2 is 6. And again, I think I'm done, but then I look at this again and I say, wait a minute, 4/6. I can divide by 2 again, okay? And still make this even simpler. So let's do that. Let's do 4 divided by 6, or 4/6. And what I want to try to do is divide the top by 2 and the bottom by 2. And what would I get? 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now this is the final answer because I can't divide anything in this fraction anymore by something to make it simpler. The only thing I will divide is the number 1, and that doesn't make it any simpler. Okay? So the answer is 2/3. Now, if you get into a situation in the fraction where you keep seeing that you can continue simplifying it, then just keep doing it. That's okay. Because let me show you what happens. If, this is perfectly fine, if you start over with 16/24, whenever I did the problem, I realized that you could divide by 2 because that's the first thing that popped in my head, and you get this. And then I say I can divide by 2 again and get this, and I can divide by 2 again and get this. And that's all fine. It works just great. But if you were to notice that you can divide the top by 8 and divide the bottom by 8, if that was the thing that popped into your head, then what you would get, 16 divided by 8 is 2, 24 divided by 8 is 3. So you would get 2/3 because 8 times 3 is 24. So what I'm trying to say is, if you happen to see the biggest number that you can divide in, you might arrive at the answer in one step. But even if you don't see that, if you just keep dividing by 2 or just keep dividing by whatever you need to, as long as you keep checking and continuing to simplify that answer, you're going to get to the same spot. Now in these other problems, when we did the single step, we happened to arrive in simplest terms. None of these could be simplified any further. But sometimes when you do it, especially with large numbers like 16 over 24, what you'll find when you start dividing by 2 is that you can keep doing it again and again, and that's fine. Just keep doing it until you get down to the point where the answer is completely simplified. So make sure you understand this. It's absolutely critical. You can multiply and divide any fraction by anything you want as long as you do it by the top and the bottom at the same time. And if you do that, you're going to get a fraction that looks different, but it's actually exactly the same thing. Make sure you understand this. Follow me onto the